where welcome to our Sunday session where we pretty much do our YouTube content on Sundays, but we allow members to come and join in to see what we're covering. And so I guess the main highlight of today's session is a little bit about the OTB method and things like some member wins. So Riva is one of our newer students, and she kind of came on with us with not knowing a whole lot about options trading, and I think she knew how to do them, but not enough background on executing them, timing them, when to place them, and also managing stop losses and target points. But when she came on with us, she did the accelerator program, and she did something kind of unconventional, where she took one of our systems that was normally used for breakouts, as in well, breakouts that when we do breakout trading, we're buying in shares. But instead, she flipped the alert and she took our breakout alert and turned it into an options play. And then I think this is might have been her third or fourth trade. And then this was the gains that she made in one of those options. So she did pretty good. So yeah, so that it caused a lot of attention in the group, and so everyone's pretty happy for her. We're certainly proud for her. But
But
yeah.
we would be careful about applying,
Yeah, yeah,
her methods there.
it's not our conventional method.
Yeah,
This way it added a lot more risk than we normally have toleration for in the system. But yeah, it caused a lot of attention in the group though. But yeah, she did good. So when we got her on the phone and we said, "Hey, these are great," because she has three others that are like this. But we also gave her the background about stop losses and also managing being over leveraged.
hmm,
So yeah, we kind of went over those concerns with her, but of course everyone's going to trade however they're going to trade. But yeah, that's all we can really do here at OTB is give her a nudge and a pat on the back at the same time. So so yeah, but yeah, so we'll start with the beginning. Why do 95% of traders fail? A lot of times they're coming into the stock market brand new, say they're signing up on Robinhood or could be Charles Schwab or Webull's another popular one, and they start trading based off of something they heard from the news, or they're jumping in for the first time on an IPO, and those are expensive lessons when trading on a hunch or just a news article. Even when researching these hot stocks that are talked about a lot, um, that doesn't mean that it's time to buy because um, just because about just because you did research on them. Like, yeah, they might go up, say, in the next 5, 10 years, but your money can be held up in that next 5 to 10 years. So what we focus here on OTB is we try to pair those popular names like blue chip stocks, but also with the technical indicators that support that there's accumulation taking place. So yeah, without a system, it's going to be very difficult to be a trader, especially when you're with options, because those you gotta get it like kind of right in more than one way. Getting it right is getting it to the strike, past the strike, and also within the allotted time based off of your expiration. Emotions driving decisions. Some traders come to us and we find out that some things they've done in the past is where they booked a loss on Monday, booked a loss on Tuesday, and by Wednesday, they're triple loading their original position and then forcing that I have to win my money back. And then so especially with maybe with day trading, they have a harder time with closing the day on a red. So yeah, so catching you off guard by emotion can cause you to make mistakes. No defined risk before entry. So one of the like market psychology things that we practice here at OTB is you kind of have to think is if the stock market crashes tomorrow, what is my exposure? And it's kind of like a daily thing that we practice before we enter a trade. Like, sure, we can full port on calls on SpaceX right today, but what can happen tomorrow? If say another war breaks out in another part of the world, or two wars break out at the same time overnight. So those options are gonna instantly lose at least half of their value. And if it's full port, then yeah, you're beyond your way to quitting trading very very shortly. So that's one of the things that they have to keep in mind, that if the market were to crash tomorrow, what is my exposure? The OTB method and how it works. And so overall, what we do here at OTB is we scan and we find candidates. But what we do is we pick candidates from good places. And so good places being we're not looking at XYZ radar company that we found on FinViz because it came up on a scanner with a golden cross, for example. No, we make it a lot easier by picking stocks from IBD, Investors Business Daily, and that's this website right here, investors.com. This is a good place for a beginner to start. They have subscription options, which
Yeah.
are nice too.
Even if you
Um,
don't have the subscriptions, all you need is the stuff in the front, right?
a lot of insight. A lot of these here that are talked about, they're already kind of hot and moving. Um, So this is a good place to get some leads. And then and looking at the stock prices, you might be able to find some bargains. Like some of these are under $50, which is nice. This one 83, 62. These are gonna translate to some really nicely priced options. Something like this, ISSC, this is gonna be very expensive to trade to get leverage and options on.
And look at the price change, right?
Yeah, that's huge.
Right. And if you look at the 52 week, it's likely very high.
IDSC. Let's see what that looks like real quick. See, I have my chart up. IESC.
Whenever we look at IBD stocks, we are looking at the weekly, right? So yeah, look at that, right? So February, if we look at
Oh wow.
March, April 2025, right?
So I just tap the 50.
July, yeah,
Oh,
so yeah, it's
it's
way more
splitting.
than,
It's
right?
splitting in
That's
814.
why anytime look at the weekly squeeze, okay? So check out, zoom out a little bit, Henry, right? This is something because look at the price, right? From the last year to now, right? It went from approximately 200 something up to where it is now, right? And if you look at the weekly squeeze,
Wow.
right, it comes from that
Okay.
weekly squeeze.
This
So
is this
if you
this
see
is the
that base
beginning.
formation, right, especially if it's kind of going down somewhat in a flag pattern, right, and you see the weekly squeeze, going, maybe you're not comfortable buying there. Wait for the breakout. So once it goes past that previous high, right, that's where you buy it, and you would have maybe gotten in at about 300 instead of like 250, right, which is also fine,
Yeah, that's
right. So
another.
it's almost like a breakout trade here, sort of,
Yeah, this looks really good.
right.
Here we can see those.
And you can see another base formation here, right, which happened after the breakout, right. And you can see that tight weekly price action, right. So okay, maybe you don't want to get there, but when you see the breakout from there, right, you can get it at that point if you like,
Yeah, those look really
right.
nice. Really
So
clean.
yeah,
Really clean.
and it looks like it's about to do it again. So keep an eye on that weekly squeeze. It looks like it's turned on one more time here, right? So there is a
Oh yeah, that
possibility of
looks
some
good.
breaking out happening here. Now, this may be too expensive. Look at another one, right? Like
Um,
chef, how about not chef? One of the cheaper ones, right? Like Ben or Plow, either one of these.
oh, let's do AXTI. I recognize that one.
Oh, AXTI. All right, that's fine.
All right. Also,
right?
we might be getting a yellow histogram. That looks good.
Yeah, this might actually
Good daily squeeze.
yeah, it's got a good
Yep.
daily squeeze, but
It looks
again, we're looking at the weekly first, right? So what my concern is that it's dropped a lot, right? So I wanted to form a base and have a long weekly squeeze, dots, right?
consolidation.
At least three, four, five of them, for that one to work, right? But the fact that it has gone up before, right, can work in its favor, right? So yeah, I wanted to kind of wiggle around here with the weekly squeeze being turned on,
Yeah. Yeah, if we can get
right?
consolidation in here, this would be great.
Yes.
And then breakout zone or buy zone would be
Mhm.
here.
Yeah,
This is the confirmation zone.
exactly, right? Especially if you see the weekly chart, right, going. Um, the nice thing about these IBD stocks is that they have already been vetted in terms of fundamentals, right? They have very good quarterly earnings and things like that, annual earnings, you know, um, basically solid companies all around, right? In terms of fundamentals, right? The balance sheets, the income statements, right? They're decent. So once they go past a certain spot, right? You really can't go wrong buying them, right? But of course, continue to keep a stop loss and keep your risk low,
That's right.
right?
Yeah, after that, after finding these and finding the setup, what's left is execution. And so the execution being part of it is not selling too early because you already got the right stock, you got the right setup, and then basically not getting shaken out, getting scared because you see it up, and then so you kind of want to lock that win in. But really, there might be still some juice left in the tank.
Mhm. Look at the other ones, right? Like Plow and you know,
PLOW.
yeah, and Ben also, right? So yeah, here we go, right? We have base formation, right? Tight weekly price, So what we want is if it breaks off that previous high at about 52, right? That's probably the time to start looking into getting it, right? Weekly squeezes can be really good with these,
Yeah, I like that. You got the
right?
EMA stacked.
Yeah,
We have a
and look,
squeeze,
zoom in, zoom. I mean, zoom out, right? You see a nice cup and handle formation kind of thing going on here.
a massive cup.
Yeah, right. So if you get a weekly squeeze on a handle, right, there's almost nothing like it,
Oh yeah,
right?
it's Golden
And you can
Cross
see
on
volume is
weekly.
starting to rise too, right? Towards the end there, right? You see a lot of buying spikes, right? And you also want to see that this company has institutional sponsorship, right? That you can find in Yahoo Finance, right? If you go to the key statistics, institutional sponsorship is key. Yep, you got a golden cross over there too, right? Which actually works in its favor.
PLOW.
Yep. So this is how you go find that, right? So statistics. Yep.
Statistic.
Mhm. Sometimes, yeah, there we go. Now go down, right? What we want to do is we want to check institutional sponsorship. Wow, that's actually huge. I didn't even think a number above 100 was possible. I think there must be a mistake there, but suffice it to say it's pretty high.
That's massive.
Yep. So though if those guys are starting to get in, right, it's a big deal. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you want
So,
to say Douglas, what is it? Douglas Dynamics. That's right. Oh, interesting. Snow plows. So they really are
wow.
basically
Oh.
what they say, you know.
Uh,
Yeah,
up work truck attachments and equipment. So it could, oh, this is,
nice.
yeah, they,
See, again, not companies that or normal people pay attention to, right? But
this is
um,
like, um, a John Deere. Reminds me like a
John
John,
Deere for snow plows.
yeah, for snowplow. Yeah.
Mhm.
That looks great.
Yep,
And at 44, that's a great price.
yep.
Um,
If it starts to rise from that squeeze, it's a good time to start thinking about it.
is everyone thinking about the weather and during Santa Claus rally?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
to plow some snow.
Oh,
This
that
would be one of
that's
those,
that's definitely when it'll be needed,
seasonality.
right? So the other one, do we have? Okay, yeah, yeah. You want to keep going on the slides, right?
Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, so
Mhm.
that was a quick step one and step two, which was scanning for stock leads and also confirming them or at least mapping out the confirmation. So to map it out, let's see. I want to get out of that consolidation, so I might have my alert here. And let's see, the other one was uh we looked at AXTI, AXTI. So I like to see some consolidation, but I would be paying more attention if it was at 80. Set my alert there. And the other one was, did we look at Ben? Oh oh, wow, this one, the Golden Cross too. This looks kind of nice. Uh, nice place to be at right here. Hmm. Let me see if I have some monthly support. Yeah, that looks good. So yeah, so just highlighted some key areas for alerts just for me to check back on those stocks when they get those places. So now executing, enter with a plan. If we were to get options on any of these that we just saw today, if they were to set up, we're looking at exiting if our option has hit larger than a 50% loss. So what that means is that trade is not working out and we move on to another trade. For target, we would look at the squeeze firing. So if the squeeze has fired and it's going to look something like this. Let's see. With the squeeze firing, we would actually wait for six dots. One, two, three, four, five, six. That'd be a great place to exit. And so for this one, it was right here. Doesn't mean that the move is entirely completed, but
I mean, yeah, it did keep going up for a little bit there, right? So
on average, the squeeze dots
mhm,
last for about
between
six.
6 and 8.
Yeah, between 6 and 8. It could be on the daily. It could be six dots on the daily, or if it's weekly, it could be six dots on the weekly.
Mhm.
Um, some of the things that we avoid at OTB is bank stocks, biotech stocks, stocks where they look like a barcode where you can't identify a clear support or resistance. If they have earnings, a check on Yahoo can help you identify if they have earnings right around that corner. We don't trade earnings day. It's pretty much like a coin flip. For bids and ask spreads, we're not looking for those wide bid and ask spreads. If you see that, it means that there's not enough liquidity on those, yeah, or that stock just isn't popular enough. On open interest less than 100, we stay away from those as well. We want to see a lot of open interest. And so no squeeze at a support. Yeah, we need the best entries are at support or at a breakout for squeezes. Um, if we see money flow contradicting the MACD, that's something that we might reconsider entry on those stocks. Gut feelings, we don't rely on gut feelings. And if that's the only reason, then um, the stock doesn't have any thing to measure again your accuracy on. If both the Nasdaq and the Dow are trending down, and then that reminds me, let's see, what does our environment look like? Okay, so in the pre-market, looking okay. Looks like it wants to
Yeah,
go.
we recently had the news about Trump kind of calling off the strikes on Iran, right? And so, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with that. Things could change um, over time, in this regard. So, we have learned not to trust the news too much here, right? But so far, the oil prices have gone down, and so I guess we're just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop here, right? And so we want to make, I think this would be the time, right, to actually start looking into getting out of long positions, right, that you don't really want to keep anymore, right? Especially if they're profitable. This, like this kind of situation would probably be a good time to like start tapering off, right? And if you look at the VIX, right, that would be a good one to check too, right? Yeah, and you can see, right, we are still close to previous time all-time highs on the SPY, right? And we also want to check the VIX, right, to see, what's going on there, right? Specifically the weekly VIX, right? And you can see, yeah, we want the weekly one though, right? Because again,
Mm,
these are blips,
yeah,
right?
we have a VIX of 16.
Mhm.
So like market is calm, no fear spike.
Yep. So, the signal I like the most in this situation is when the VIX goes above the top Bollinger and starts coming back in, right? That is really a good time to buy, I think, kind of more long term. Um, so,
So yeah, so
you
this
can see right now we're not there. We're not going above the Bollingers, right? We're actually still very close to the kind of the bottom Bollingers here, right? So I'm like in a this actually makes me nervous, right? This might make a lot of people happy, but this is the kind of situation that that makes me pretty
yeah, it's
pretty nervous. So
it's like the market is
yeah, yeah,
complacent with a gradual sell-off.
yep.
That's what that looks like.
And you can see, I mean, things have been pretty sideways on the market too, right? So is it going to continue? I think there is a good chance for the VIX to actually blow back above the top Bollinger, maybe in a couple of months,
Yeah,
right? Maybe sooner than we think. I don't know, right? That's the point. But this is the kind of situation that makes me nervous and makes me want to get out of long positions and
yeah,
kind of preserve capital for the next, ongoing situation.
yeah. No reason to be over leveraged at this point.
Yeah,
Because this sideways channel market is deciding whether to
right.
continue upwards or a possible
And it
break.
could continue upwards, right? We're not saying I'm not going to we're not in the business of predictions, right? It could actually continue further up, right? Um, so you want to be, watching out for the supports and the resistances and things like that, and also keep an eye here, right? Because if the VIX kind of gets very close to that bottom Bollinger, um, and it starts to creep up like it did in the previous situation before the Iran war news, or caused the market to tumble around March or April. That's why we say be careful. Be ready for anything to happen at this point, right?
So, yeah, so that part
Yeah,
that I was talking about is this here. When
right.
the VIX candles start to get like we would call it dangerously close to the bottom Bollingers, it doesn't mean that market's going to drop the very next day. But
right? I mean, look what happened. It went sideways for a while,
this
right? This
was
is where,
this was the start of an extremely low fear situation, which was a VIX 13. That's
mhm.
low. And then over the next 2 months or so, VIX started to kind of climb its way up to the
Yep.
point where
And then
the
when it broke to the downside, right, it broke the support, right? So in this situation, right, you have to be very careful with long positions, right? Maybe buy some puts for protection on the SPY or the QQQ or both,
yeah.
right? And then as soon as that top Bollinger is exceeded, right, which is what we want to see, right? So you can see past situations where it exceeded, and usually those don't always end up being huge drops, right? They drop, but it's not like oh no, I'm the whole world is ending kind of drop, right? We actually pretty rarely get what seems like that, right? But yeah, anytime you see that bottom Bollinger, right, and VIX prices are getting really close. Now this is the weekly chart, by the way, so keep that in mind, right? When it gets that close to that bottom Bollinger, you have to be ready to start getting into more cash. This is the situation where I would say 50 to 75% cash is probably a good thing to do to get into and continue doing spread trades, right? SPX spread trades or any other income based strategies that you may have, and just keep spamming those until you see that support broken. Right. The nice thing about SPY and the VIX, I'm sorry, the SPY and the QQQ is that they are largely predictable. It it stays sideways between a support and resistance for quite some time. So you will have an early warning before something bad happens in many cases.
Yeah, those moves are a lot smoother
Hmm.
versus individual stock.
Yeah.
We're like kind of like Apple, where it's hot one week and then the next week
Hmm.
it's not hot anymore. The SPY, it doesn't quite move.
A lot of it is news driven, industry news driven and things like that. So if people are pulling out their money from these stocks, right, there's nothing we can do. We can't help that, right? But with the SPY and the QQQ, because they contain so many companies within, right? They act as an average. So much harder to turn that um, around when it's been going up for a while, right? Now, when it goes down and it becomes oversold, we do frequently get V bounces,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, something to keep in mind.
Exit entry and risk, no guesswork. Entries are just like how we showed you in the last couple of minutes or so. We like to see yellow histograms. We like to see price at support or price at breakouts. MACD crossovers can be used to help you with those entries. Slow stochastic below 20, those are good to keep an eye on as well. Stop loss is kind of how we mentioned before. Think of if the market were to crash tomorrow, how much are you exposed? No risking no more than 5% of your account and honor it each time, every time. Price target, it's worth it to take trades where the room to run um, is significant. And so one of the broad market indicators that we use to identify whether there's room to run is the BPSPX, bullish percentage index. Think of this indicator like on a speedometer on a car. Imagine your car maximum speed you can go is 100 miles per hour. And currently, the reading that we have for as BPSPX is 63. So essentially, let's see, our last max top speed or our general top speed is around 80. Going back, let's just say 1 to 2 years, 80 has been the max. So we have generally a 20 point kind of upside of where we can kind of expand on the upside. And so major points of interest on the BPSPX is when it starts to get itself below 20 and below 15. And so we'll just back test a few of these points here. This one being, this is April 2025. And let's see what was happening in April 2025. And I'm gonna go here. Looks like last year, April 2025 was right here. And so right here was when it happened. So this one was a nice upside. Let me find a cleaner chart. This one has a lot of drawings on there. All right, let's see. April 2025 is here. And so really nice up move with a golden cross to confirm it right here. So BPSPX, it is free. And where to find it is here at Stock Charts. Just go ahead and Google BPSPX and you can save this in your bookmarks. When you see these large blips going downwards, this is time to pay attention because basically you're going at 15 miles per hour. Your max is 80, plenty of room to run. In a normal environment, this will work. If we're in a rate hike environment, this will not work. Let's see. Let's look at one more. September 22. We're going back to 2022, probably the end of the rate hike period. December or September is here. And looks like the market made its way back up after a long sell-off. 30%. And yeah,
Actually,
it's at
if you look at the monthly chart, right, this was an expanding triangle. Remember,
and
right?
go
See,
back to area 2022. Yeah,
right? It was an expanding triangle, and it broke out of the not that way, right? The downtrend was an expanding triangle. See that initial downtrend,
this one
not
here.
that one, the one in 2022 to 2023, right?
Mm.
So see how that was 2020, right?
Oh, that's what this
It
pandemic.
it it yeah, right. So if you draw that, right, this was kind of an expanding triangle situation, or yeah, if you wanted to draw it like that, right, a wedge. Sorry, it was a wedge, not an
Fa-
expanding triangle.
falling
Right.
wedge,
I think sorry, I confused this with QQQ because QQQ was, an
it looked a
expanding
little
triangle.
different.
This one was actually a wedge, right? So um, when we broke out of the wedge, right, that was an early sign that things were turning around.
Yeah,
And if you looked at, you could have actually gotten in earlier
yeah.
than the red to yellow, transition on the squeeze,
Holding histogram. Um,
right?
but yeah, that really was spot on. September
So
20.
that's why we added the patterns to our checklist too, right? Like to look for like whichever chart you're looking at, daily, weekly, monthly, and we look at all of them. Um, you must also, train your eyes to see the various um, Western patterns as well as candlestick patterns,
Yeah, that one's massive.
right?
Really, really
Yep.
massive. Trading view chart setups, some tools that can be used is if you're trying to figure it up from down, super trend is a nice quick way to finding out what the trend is without any guesswork. Median analysis consensus kind of tells you what is the price target based off of some major stock and investment news outlets. Look, some investors just look at 52-week highs and lows, especially the ones that are long term. They might look at blue chip stocks when they're at their 52-week lows. Those are considered value buys. And then when they get closer to the 52-week high, that might be a time that they start reshuffling some of the items in their portfolio. SMA 200, it's a good quick indicator whether if it's on par or if it's performing below standards. Below 200 would be below standards. So I think Netflix is somewhere around under the 200. So something above 200 is generally kind of okay. Status is healthy. Some OTB trading charts that we use, usually the Squeeze Pro, MACD for confirmation, slow stochastic for a good weekly confirmation. Drawing your supports and resistance lines on the longer time frame charts as well as the shorter time frame charts, so you can get the
Yep.
full.
And look for the patterns.
That's right. Let's see, and then I'll just add super trend here real quick. And so quickly kind of tells you what kind of trend that we're in. And it looks like from April to June, indicator shows green. So this is a generally buy the dip environment. And then with the trend going red, it's a kind of a sell the rip environment is one way to look at it.
But
Um,
look at the angle of the trend too, right?
yeah,
See, because this one is pretty straight.
it's
So it
it's
might be sell the rip when it reaches that the top of that channel,
yeah, it's like a sideways
right?
negative trend. Yeah,
Yeah,
it probably
sideways, slightly negative, and you can see the previous time with the Iran war situation, right? That
that
was
was
a
a
clear,
clear. Yeah.
right, fairly clear downtrend there, right? So a super trend is kind of a good way to quickly see is there a clear uptrend or a clear downtrend, right? Pretty binary there.
Netflix, it's red, um, negative trend below the 200.
Definitely clear one, and you can see that with both the ADX and the super trend, as well as the likely the moving average crossovers as well,
Yeah, lot of signals pointing to stay away.
right? Yep.
V's on an uptrend, which is great. We have a position in this right now, so once we reach target, and it looks like we're going to be looking for all-time highs or maybe hopefully we go on price discovery. I would like to see this go on price discovery.
Mm.
But we'll see. With the oil cooling down, maybe we need a little bit more time on this one. Some golden rules from OTB, using the pre-trade checklist, going over these steps before jumping into a trade. Never risking more than 5% on the account. Yes, protect your capital at all costs. Setting a stop loss, know what your limit is. And because some traders they get into trades and they go for the hopium that these will recover. And so with options expiring at say 30 days, 60 days out, there's not a whole lot of time for those to recover. So make sure you keep an eye on your stop losses. Avoid earnings. We don't trade
Yep,
earnings.
that's always the case, right? Avoid earnings.
Yeah.
If you're interested in any individual company, right? Because that's a pretty binary situation as well, right? Either it will, go up and overreact to the top, or go down and overreact to the bottom. Very rarely does it go sideways.
Quality over quantity. A watch list of 5 stocks that you know well beats a watch list that has 60 stocks where you only know what 10 of them are doing at any given point in time. Weed out that watch list. Keep it to companies that you have interest in or that you know well. And preferably blue chips, stocks that belong to the SPY or the QQQ or IBDs. Check through the IBDs and see if there's any industries in there that you particularly have interest in, or that you have a lot more knowledge in those, because those are you tend to do better in those kind of stocks that you already know kind of like the back of your own hand. Journaling, especially in the beginning, you want to write down the dates, the entries, what you saw, your confirmation signals, um, and other things like what was your current emotion at the time? Like, was it did you feel FOMO, or did you hear like, oh, so a lot of your coworkers jumped on this stock? Like, notate the reasons why you jumped in those trades and record those results. And so that's pretty much the foundation of OTB. We have a couple of programs here that we offer here at OTB. If you've been trading for a while, or if you're just coming back on the horse, The clarity call is a great place to be at. It's a 1 hour call with me and Anon, and we'll go over your personalized trading setup. We'll get you hooked up with one of our gems, some
Now we
desktop.
do say 1 hour, but sometimes it can last 2 to 2.5 hours. We have done that because some people have so many questions, and we intend to answer every question we can.
Yeah. Yeah, we make that value
Mhm.
driven for those
Yes.
members. If you're just getting into option trading or stock trading, we recommend the Quick Start Guide. That's a good place to study. Comes with an audio book that's recorded by me. Please excuse the chimes and rings in the background. I think I was recording that kind of late with, and then we also have the 3 day. This is our best seller. Especially if you've had screen time for like say 1 to 2 years. That's going to help with swing trade because we go over some pretty advanced concepts, and you walk away with three ready to go systems, desktop setup all for you, the trading war rooms. You get all the guides, the sheets, the auto calculated AIM sheets. And this
and
is
and a free clarity call afterwards.
You also get a free clarity call. That's right. You get a free clarity
Mhm.
call to use in the future with the accelerator.
Yep.
But yeah, back to some of our other slides, short-term versus long-term trading. What are you going to do with short-term trading? What or short-term charting? What is that used mainly for? This is your tactical execution layout. It's how you time your entries and exits, identifying your daily squeeze histogram to really dial in on that timing. This is where the quick pop-ups on individual names show up. But these are going to be a lot short-term trades. So not only that you're using the short-term chart, which is the daily, but your entries are going to be short. Not short as in put, but at smaller call options or less time. They might have 2 to 3 months rather than 8 to 9 months or a year, like if you're looking at the monthly or weekly charts. Um, if you combine it with the long-term charting, you can confirm, do you have the long-term supporting backup for those short-term trades? So the best way is if you can cross-reference your long-term to your short-term charting where they're both incongruent, meaning that, hey, this Microsoft stock has a monthly yellow histogram or a monthly MACD fading pink. And you can combine it with the short term where you also have a yellow on the daily. You also have a light pink on MACD. Those are going to be really good trades. Um, or if you're able to combine a long-term signal with a 50 crossing 200 golden cross, those work really well. Or even if you're able to get that on the short term, those will also work pretty well. If you're able to capture those broad market movements on the longer time frames and dialing them in on the short term side. But yeah, like how I mentioned before, how we showed some of the examples, golden crosses, those are really good, especially for options. Those can kind of tell you that a momentum driven move is ahead. When 50 crosses the 200 on the upside, that's your golden cross. And it can be equally as powerful on the downside. This means that things are not going so good for that stock. So if you see death cross, those are places that you can consider either to not trade or you might be able to get away with a small put. But yeah, golden crosses are more I lean to as my go-to trades rather than death crosses. I don't really trade these, but I like to keep a note on them. And so, just like how we went over in the earlier session, or the earlier in the session was the VIX signal. The re-entry of the Bollinger VIX can be an area where you can get a market pop-up. Calls on the QQQ and SPYs can work really well on these. And then, but what you're measuring is when the VIX re-enters the Bollinger Band. So take a practice with this. The bottom is S&P 500 for reference. The top is the VIX. And so as you can see here, VIX is trading within the Bollinger Bands, gets out of the band, re-entries, and then you see that nice pop up from the SPY. So coincidentally, this was after the FOMC meeting and it was on a full moon. And so for fun, you guys should check out how does the stock market behave on a full moon. So here you have three very eventful things in the market. But that doesn't mean that this run can last forever. This just means that you have that general popping back in of back to the reversion to the mean play or recovery in a sense. And so, yeah, like how when we started this call with the member highlight, so Riva joined us a month ago, and she didn't know the difference between calls and puts, but she took our accelerator class, which is a 3-day class, each session being around 2.5 hours. And so she did something kind of unconventional. It's where she took out our breakout trades, which is normally for a shares positions, but instead she turned that into an option signal. And so she has like four other trades like this. And so this is just the one that I took from the most recent one. And so we had so it caused a lot of attention in the Discord, which you also get with the accelerator program. You get the Discord, you get the alerts, you get the community, and you can ask questions at any time. And we're in there every morning at market open. Me personally from 6:30 to 7, looking for breakout trades. And it's average when the market's doing really well, then we might get an average of 3 to 4 trades a day. But right now, we're kind of just hanging tight. We're more in capital preservation mode. But sometimes there'll be some that break out that look good to enter. We announced those in the chat. But yeah, so Reba, she took one of our daily signals that we do for breakouts, and she turned it into an option signal. And so we called her up and we're like, hey, you're doing really great. But be careful because you could be over leveraging on those. Like so, we reminded her to give herself some more time on the exploration, and also don't over leverage just because you always have to think about if there were to be a market crash, what would happen to those options with a short date of expiration. But yeah, the last portion of our free Sunday call is the Q&A. And so, yeah, the floor is open for any questions, and then we can answer anything you guys might have. If there's a chart you want us to look at, uh, just type in the ticker, and we can review those
Yeah, the chat.
using the Zoom chat.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, for me, I guess just to go off, what broker do I use personally? I was using thinkorswim, but when once it switched over to Charles Schwab, it kind of started running a lot slower on my computer. So now I run thinkorswim off of my phone, which is a lot simpler. It doesn't have all the features, but it works pretty good. I'm using those for spreads, and then for my day to day, I'm using Robinhood. And so I'm a little bit in the Robinhood ecosystem with the gold plan and credit card and stuff. So it's really user friendly. I'm able to get in and out of stuff real fast. It runs quick on my phone and stuff. So I've been primarily on there. And so Anon, what are you using right now? You're on Schwab, right? Are you doing the web?
I'm on Schwab, but I will, for the spreads, right? Thinkorswim is better.
Or are you using the web browser for your trades right now?
Yes,
Okay, nice.
yes,
Old
yes.
school.
Yeah. The other stuff is just to make, to do the technical analysis.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and over the years, like we've been using Thinkorswim for quite some time, and it hasn't changed really that much, even with the changing of companies. Like that software looks exactly the same from 5 years ago, I'd have to say.
Yep.
They don't put a bunch of bells and whistles on it. It just looks like a terminal. So I'm glad I like when things kind of stay the same, but yeah, they haven't really changed it that much.
Well, I guess there are no questions.
All right.
I think we can. Oh,
Okay,
all right.
Rivian. Okay.
Rivian. Okay.
Think
All
this
right.
one
Let's
has
look at that
been
one.
has been giving people trouble, I've heard.
Hmm.
All right.
It's
So
been
general
very
trend is
sideways,
yeah,
right?
kind of off and on.
Yeah. Look at the weekly, right? That's for all these long-term charts. We look at the weekly, and you can see this is a pretty good base formation, right? However, it has failed a lot of times, so you need to really confirm this one, right? Yeah, it has to go at least to that next high, right? Or the next kind of high on the left, right? To about, I don't know, $40 or so, right? Before we can say, yeah, there is something going, good going on here, right? Looks like it was a recent IPO,
Yeah, this one has been.
right?
I know. I think it came out around 2021, and it was hot.
Yeah.
Like everyone was on it,
It
and
takes sometimes these IPOs take a couple of years, maybe a few years before it actually comes back.
yeah, this one I know a little bit on the background on Rivian. So when they first came out, they
Yep.
were the next hot thing, and they had potential contracts with FedEx, and it might have been Amazon too, where they
Mhm.
could have been their potential delivery card partner. And then and also I think UPS was looking at them too. But then those contracts kind of fell out. So one of my buddies at work, I think he's in on Rivian. It's somewhere right around like this price. And so at the time it was the most talked about stock, but he's been holding it since
Yeah,
2020.
that's a problem. Your money gets tied up on something like this. So this is one of those stocks which we will say has to prove itself before you get in on it,
Mhm.
right? So I'm thinking the next high is $40. The next high after that is about $80, right? And then, you know,
That can put you in clear sailing, yeah.
yeah, so that's when okay, yeah, everything seems to be okay with it. Now we do have a pretty tight price action here now going on again, so it could be like one of those, third time's the charm kind of thing,
I think
right?
Rivian was working with Ford for a little bit for a little while, and I think that's why the Rivian it looks
Hmm.
so much like a Maverick, like they look similar. So that was promising too. When you when when automotive was watching Rivian and Ford work together, then that had a lot of potential for Rivian.
Yes. So there is, I mean, we'll have to, keep a close eye on it, right? Right now it's kind of just wiggling back and forth here, right? Attempted some breakouts before turned out to be fake, right? So, yeah, like I said, 40 probably the next, kind of high point. Um, then probably around, see, maybe 50, then, 70 or so, right? To actually
Um,
show that it's actually going up, right? This is
yeah,
one we had just been looking at, right?
yeah.
Called Plow.
Yeah, earlier we're looking at
Douglas Dynamics, right? They do snowplow and snowplow accessories.
yeah, like the John Deere of snow.
Yeah. So
I like this pattern here. This looks really good. This
see,
tells a lot.
so Zach, for you because you asked, right? We want to see that pattern, the cup and handle pattern. All right. Yes, you can buy during the formation of the other side of the cup, right? That's also something that you can do, but it has to break out first, right? And if you put the squeeze
So
back on,
are you waiting for it to break out then of that
yes,
pattern and
yes,
then you enter?
yeah,
Okay.
because you can buy it, yes, right? But you would have to be prepared for your money to be tied up for a long time, right? Some of these things
Yeah.
take a while, so you have to be somewhat patient if you wanted to buy it. But the IBD policy and really even our policy, right? And the policy of a lot of past great traders is to wait for that breakout to happen, right? And to make sure that it's not fake, right?
But yeah, we'll set alert on this one. If this pans out, we'll throw an update on the Facebook group just to say, hey, the cup and handle pattern is on a breakout mode. So
Yes.
Eyes
This one,
open.
and then there were a couple of other companies recommended by IBD called Pay and CPay, right? Stock symbols, right? So this is also looking to be kind of a breakout situation here, and you can see that the recent situation with the weekly squeeze, so I like to see tight price action on handles on the weekly chart, right? And a breakout from that, which actually this has happened here, right? And I think pay is also good, right? In that same way, right? You can see, right, down, right, for a while, and then did the breakout up to the top. Now formed a handle, right, and now appears to be breaking out of that handle. So long-term stocks like this, right? This is what we're looking for.
When you're looking at for stocks like these, like IBD stocks, newer stocks that
Yes.
aren't necessarily blue chip, are you just trolling through all the IBD stocks like on a daily basis, researching through them, or are you just
No,
relying on
we
news
look
from
at the
IBD
headline
itself?
news, right? We look at the
Okay.
IBD headline news, and we also look at the IBD 50, right, for any signals, right? That way you're not scouring through a huge bunch of stocks, right? You want the ones people are paying attention to.
And then so for the Zacks.com can give you X-ray vision on that FFTY ETF, and then it lists out all of the stocks within that ETF. So this is a good place to build a watch list to start scanning through and seeing if anything looks interesting. Well, yeah. We have more information at our homepage, and I went ahead and put that in the chat. Best ways to reach us is either through the email, through our website, or just pinging us through Facebook. Those are two good ways to get a hold of us. And then, but yeah, we're gonna be online Monday morning as usual for the members, and then if we see anything good, we'll post it. And so yeah, we'll
Yep.
hope you guys in the Facebook group.
Yep. And we'll be trying to do this every Sunday at about this time, right? So if you're able to make it, well and good. If not, we will record this and put it on
Yeah,
YouTube.
check the events tab. We always put all of our meets in the events tab.
Yep. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Sure thing.
Welcome, Zach.
Welcome. Yeah.
All right,
All
take
right.
care, guys.
Take care, guys. We'll see you in the next